It is 7:06 and you are now live.
Welcome to our March 25th, 2021 meeting of the City of Oneonta Community Relations and Human Rights Commission meeting. My name is Shannon McHugh. I am chair of this committee. Thank you, Bonnie, for being our person in the wings and on the sidelines tonight. We appreciate you. I am going to call the meeting to order. First things first, roll call. Joyce Miller.
Here.
Commission member Franklin Chambers.
Here.
Commissioner Paul Conway.
Here. I should say I'm here with my dog, so you can mute me anytime you want to, Shannon.
Thank you, Paul. Commissioner Reverend Marty.
I'm here.
Commissioner member Deandra Singeti Daniels.
Here.
And our liaison from the council, Luke Murphy.
I'm here.
Yay.
Good.
I have not heard from Carol. She is absent, or she could come in at any time. We do have a quorum, which is great. We can move forward, but she may pop in. With that, myself and Luke have no video due to internet issues, so we will be voice only. So let's move forward. We do not have any petitioners or guests this evening. That would move us on to correspondences. Has anyone had any correspondences they would like to mention? No? Okay.
Okay, go lie down.
How about some new announcements? Nothing fun new, nothing. Well, I mean, COVID is just, we're trying. So with no petitioners, no correspondence, and no announcements, we can move on to the approval of the minutes from last month's meeting. Was everyone able to take a look at the minutes from last month's meeting?
I move that we approve them.
Thank you, Paul. We need a second. Anybody want to second the minutes?
Second.
I second them.
You have your choice, Joyce. You can pick Reverend Marty or Deandra.
I heard Reverend Marty first, so.
You got a second. We got second. Okay. So with our first and second, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so we're gonna pass our minutes for last month. Thank you so much, Joyce, for taking care of that for us.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you. We're very quickly moving on to old business. And within old business, we have a few aspects to talk about. We'll do Trailblazer last because it's going to be more thorough. So to begin, I'm going to put our council liaison, Luke Murphy, on the stand and ask him about the monument.
Bless you.
Sure.
Thank you, Shannon. Yes, so I will be completely honest. I've been on the community advisory board with Shannon, and unfortunately, in terms of the monument, I have not made a lot of progress in the past month or so. I am still waiting to hear back from a mutual contact that I have with both the Oneida and Mohawk Nations, and I will be touching base with her tomorrow because it's been a couple of weeks since I've heard anything. However, it is still on my agenda. But like I said before, I want to make sure I have voices from the First Nations before making a suggestion going forward.
Awesome. Thank you, Luke, so much.
Got it.
So the next point of business I'd like to bring up is the CAB committee. We were originally trying to push things out a little bit and have them in after April 1st. However, we were told that things must be in by April 1st. So the Community Advisory Board to OPD, the CAB committee, will be meeting tomorrow. I believe it's a 7 p.m. meeting, and we will be pushing out our final draft on, what we've agreed upon, or we're going to be working on, what we'd agree upon to push out in a final draft, I should say. I just kind of wanted to make aware that the survey that my subcommittee put forth, subcommittee 4, the results from that survey are available on our Facebook page currently. You can go on to our Facebook page for those survey results. It's subcommittee 4 or sub 4 Oneonta. You should be able to find them there. And hopefully after tomorrow, we'll have more information about what we decide to put forward. It's been such a process. Everyone has worked so hard, and I'm just thoughtful for everyone who's been involved. So good things are happening. Deandra, real quick with the Juneteenth celebration, not anything super, you don't need to have anything super official, but just if we could talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, so yesterday we had our first planning meeting. Like Paul was saying earlier, I think it went really well. We have about like 4 or 5 people involved on like the commission or planning board. Mainly what we're looking at now is how to get more responsibility put on the city so we can kind of institutionalize the event. It is, I believe, a federal holiday now. So I think it should be looked at as the same as like a July 4th event. But that's kind of the conversation we were having. And then a lot of brainstorming was happening about like what the event would look like, who would be involved. And I was kind of hoping that the Human Rights Commission would like be one of the first people to like maybe offer up some funds to kind of like sponsor it or like help put on the event.
Yeah, so we do get money. I think we get $800 if I'm not mistaken, for our whole year. So being that we've have COVID going on right now, typically we spend like a good percentage of that on functions out in the community. I mean, it obviously would be up to the board to decide, or the commission to decide, but it is something we can talk about possibly putting money into. I believe Joyce,
Yes.
you would have a better idea about that process. Is that something that we can take up on our own, or is it something that needs to be presented to us?
Well, I think the first thing we have to do is make sure we have $800 for this year. Because I don't know. So it's easy enough to find out.
Bonnie, if you know, can you pipe in?
I don't know, but I can check for you and get back to you.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Awesome. So we'll start there. We'll make sure that the funding is there, and then we can go from there.
And we have to calculate how much we've typically spent for the award presentations as part of the budget, right?
Right.
Yes.
And that would be a regular expense almost. So that would be out of the 800, and then what's left?
Right. So typically we like between Job Corps, all the events that we do, farmers market, all the events that we do in a typical year, we spend a good chunk of that along with the Trailblazer ceremony. But being that COVID has been happening, last year we had some money to spend on the brochures. This year we can look to putting money into the Juneteenth celebration. I think the idea of pushing it more on the city as like a federal holiday might be better versus like grant funding through the commission, just because when we, you know, we do decide or are able to get back into the community, we're not going to be able to give as much or, you know, be able to be as supportive and helpful as if there was something more stable from the city. So, I mean, this is all stuff that can get worked out, but it's definitely something for this year can, you know, be a good possibility, but let's see what our funding is and we can kind of go from there.
To make it efficient, next meeting, because that will be coming pretty soon before Juneteenth, should somebody or a couple of people get together, look at the budget and make a proposal as to how much we want to contribute?
I think, I don't know which comes first. The committee that DeAndre has right now needs to come up with a budget of what they are thinking about and what they're asking for. And that,
Yeah,
I think both things are needed. I think.
Sorry to cut you off. My initial thing, I realized that this committee would not fund the whole thing. Just I think a contribution would be nice, because we had in our plannings, we had talked about paying the performers, you know, the idea of that we value their time and their energy and their craft, so that if they were to perform at our event, they would receive some sort of compensation. We're also planning on doing our own fundraising through a t-shirt like we did last year, and we were able to raise like $600, which we donated to the ACLU, but we'll be finding another place for our profits. But having like money to cover the t-shirts, because last year I put the money up front for myself and then paid myself at the end. But this year, if I had a beginning chunk of money, that would be nice. So I don't have to, I think it was like $700 the t-shirts were up front, and then ultimately we made our money back, so it was fine. But you know, there's always that risk about not getting it back, which is a little scary for an individual to take on. But that was kind of like where I was thinking, like either like one either t-shirts, or we are planning on renting a tent. So like if this committee could chip in for renting the tent, something like that. It wouldn't be like sourcing the whole event, because that would just be too much.
It also,
but I can give you more formal numbers by next month.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, there also might be something where we might have other resources. Like, I mean, I know the tent that I use for Farmers Museum or not Farmers Museum, for the Farmers Market is not what you're looking for, but like Reverend Marty's church supplies that tent. So like we might be able to find other places, other sources for things as well. So cool. If you just like came with those items, or you know what you're hoping for, we might be able to reach out to others and see what may be possible. But great, it sounds like it was a wonderful meeting. So I guess the other thing I had for old business besides Trailblazer was the inclusivity statement for
okay. Shannon.
Yep.
Just before you leave this, since you mentioned the requesting funds from the Methodist Church.
No, tent. No, I was saying that we borrowed the tent for the farmers market.
Borrow the tent from the farmers market?
No, we. Go ahead, Reverend Marty.
Oh, I was just going to say, Joyce, that we brought over, it was a small covering.
Oh, the 10 by 10?
Yeah. I don't think that it exists at church anymore, but I know where we could get one from one of our members. She wasn't talking about money. She was talking about borrowing a small tent, but I don't know if you're looking for a huge tent, Deandra.
I was just suggesting that there were other resources that we might be able to pull from.
Right.
Not necessarily that she wants the 10 by 10 tent, but that we have the ability to reach out to others. So,
it was
trying
just an example.
Well, what? Okay. I'll take my concern one step further. If she's looking for renting a bigger tent, like from Morris Tent Rental, there is a fund at the United Methodist Church that she could ask for a grant from.
Right.
But that information would be better sooner than later getting in the request.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what it costs to rent a tent, but I put that out there so that if they do want a larger tent rented, find a price and possibly put in a request to the Methodist Church.
Yep. Thank you, Joyce. Good idea.
Know that, and I feel like that was good information to share. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that committee meets on the first Wednesday of every month. So
Okay.
you might want to, the website, our website, the Methodist Church website has the, it's called the Patrick Fund. You probably know that. It has the application is on the website.
Great. I'll look into that. Thanks.
Awesome. Money you don't have to spend. Support from the community is always amazing. Okay. So the inclusivity statement that we were talking about on the website for the city of Oneonta, I think we kind of were still working on that a little bit before we were pushing it to anywhere. The only thing is this evening we have the Trailblazer Award to talk about. So I don't know if you want to kind of leave the inclusivity statement till next meeting to further develop and focus on the Trailblazer nominees this evening. How does everyone feel about that?
That works.
Sure.
I could have like an official write-up for next meeting, and then I can send it to you all so you could read it beforehand.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Okay, great.
So that will leave us with our Trailblazer Awards. We had 3 nominees for the over 25 category. Was everyone able to take a look and read them over?
Yep.
Okay. So, I mean, we can begin. Let's start discussions. Our first applicant was Emily Phillips. Or do you want, I mean, in the past, we've done it where we kind of like just take a vote on each person since everybody's already read through their applications. Would you guys prefer that? And then we can kind of open it for discussion based on votes.
One way might be just have everybody one at a time express their opinions as to what we should do and rankings if necessary.
Right.
Rankings might be one way to do it.
I think that makes sense.
Okay. Who would like to begin?
I would.
Uh,
I'm sorry. I just got you.
No,
off.
that's okay. I was just going to kind of ask a question, and you guys can obviously tell me if this is a no-go. But since there were only 3 and we were going to look for a winner in one category for over 25 and under, so we'd have 2 winners. I was kind of thinking, like, since we didn't get a younger one, we could maybe pick 2 from older, or
So we have done that in the past. We typically, well, yes. So the past few years we've been picking 2. I think that you're gonna hear that people are gonna suggest we pick 3, but let's just see what everyone has to say.
well, I was gonna say that, but I was like, let me go with 2 just in case.
I mean, so let me just poll everyone first. Who's feeling like we should just pick all 3?
Not me.
Could you restate that again, Shannon?
I said, who is feeling like we should be picking all 3? Or does everyone kind of have like a top 1 or 2? because I do think at the very least we should be picking two.
It really is tough. It's like apples and oranges, that old cliche, apples, oranges, maybe and strawberries too. It's a tough
Shannon,
one.
my
Okay.
thought process was kind of similar. Like if we picked two and we only had one left, I think it would be almost kind of disrespectful in the sense that like, I think they're all really qualified. I really appreciated reading all the, Reverend Marty, you said you wanted to start. I'll let you go.
Okay, Deandra. I was just, I'm still sort of the new kid on the block too. I've only been on the committee for a short time, but to me, I enjoyed reading all of them, and they've all done amazing things and made a huge contribution to our community. But it seems to me that if you're really talking about someone who has blazed a trail as a woman, it seems to me there's only one, and that's Judge Bernier. Because I think, as much as Ms. Lynch and Ms. Phillips have done amazing things, I don't think either of the things that they're doing are really blazing new trails, with all due respect from both of them. I also don't think, please correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think that the names of the individuals who were nominated are out beyond this committee, are they? So if we don't pick all three, no one's going to be the wiser except the people who nominated them, obviously. Is that correct?
Besides the fact that this is a recorded meeting that goes up on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, we shouldn't be talking about our process with anybody else, so it should be totally confidential.
It's
And
not.
nobody should know.
Now it's live streamed.
All right.
Right, which is kind of why I said let's kind of vote. But I'm gonna say that I agree with you. I think Lucy and Kathy are like my 1-2. But that's just my piece. Paul, what were you feeling like?
Well, I also thought Lucy was the best qualified if I ranked them. I also thought they were all really terrific people, and I hated to say anything negative. I couldn't say anything negative about any of them. But Lucy goes in a way outside of the box, as opposed to a really outstanding teacher. And I really think teachers are the most honorable profession. But for Lucy to become a lawyer, even when it was tough to get into law school back in her day, and to then become not just a really successful lawyer and in her profession recognized, but then to go on to run for office as judge. And then I have a little bias because I've been in the Choral Society for years, and Lucy became an elected president and served very well there. And I was on the board of the Concert Association. So I'm a little biased because of my familiarity with what Lucy's done over the years. And I just would certainly, in terms of my experience and bias, rank her tops. At the same time, I really think the others are terrific people.
Joyce, what were your feelings? Thank you, Paul.
I agree with the way Marty put it. I mean, to me, Lucy Bernier is meets the qualifications more than the other two, but like everyone else has said, the other two, and we usually do invite all who have been nominated and recognize them when we do the
Ceremony.
actually give the award.
Okay. Franklin.
I certainly agree that the one candidate that was mentioned stands out more so than the others. And so I'm not opposed to us selecting one candidate as opposed to selecting all three.
Okay, thank you. Deandra, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling not Lucy, and I definitely understand her, why she's such an obvious choice. It's not that I don't necessarily want to pick her. It's just that I'm a little biased. I felt the warmth of Miss Lynch growing up, going through the high school. I also think that a trailblazer can look a little different. And I think the idea that teachers have this reach that Lucy might not necessarily have more of a direct impact on like people's lives who ultimately then become trailblazers themselves. I think the love and compassion I felt from Kathy Lynch through the high school has definitely has me rooting for her right now. But also too, because of that non-traditional trailblazer look, that's kind of why I was like, I think all three are really great candidates. If I had to pick one, I think Miss Lynch, because she truly is amazing and she really does dedicate so much time and resources and love to all her students, and not even just her students, sport teams. And she really is a huge part of the Oneonta High School community. And I think a lot of kids that might not necessarily feel connected to the school can find comfort and advocacy through Miss Lynch. I mean, she makes delicious brownies. So like I could talk about Miss Lynch all the time. I really love her. But I understand. I think Lucy was amazing. She's an incredible professional, and reading about her was really amazing too. Emily too. I forget. I think Emily was the one with the references, right? Or was that Lucy?
She like knit the ear guards for the masks.
Yeah. Well, and I was thinking with like Emily and Kathy Lynch, they're kind of like, you know, the unnoticed heroes, whereas Emily is very much the star poster child for a trailblazer. I think the other two kind of broaden the definition of what a trailblazer looks like. And I'm always, you know, outside the box kind of girl. So I like that they kind of fit in there to that. But
I appreciated how I read, it was one thing that stuck with me about Kathy, about how it had only been male teachers in her subject prior to her starting there.
Well,
And
that's
that's
a good point.
the first woman in that subject to teach there.
There you go.
And I thought that was pretty awesome. That's why I said they're my 1 and 2.
Yeah. Thanks. That's a good point.
I don't. So, I mean, Luke doesn't get a vote as far as I know, correct, Joyce?
I guess an opinion.
That's
Luke, we
correct.
have your opinion.
No, it's hard for because of everything that has been said. There are some really amazing trailblazers on this list, and I am fortunate I don't get a vote because it's really hard for me to decide, which kind of sounds like maybe a little bit of a take an easy way out, but that's how it is. I don't think we can go wrong with whoever the commission decides. I think there were some phenomenal names on this list, and I think Oneonta is very lucky to have all of these individuals with us.
Thank you, Luke. I mean, I'm just going to put this out there because we have done it in the past. I feel like we should be able to feel comfortable picking 2 people. I do understand that some of you feel like Lucy is like, head of the pack kind of situation. But there's also some pull for Kathy, I think, as well. How would people feel about doing 2 awards again, or would you want to keep it at 1?
I'm fine with 2.
I can handle 2 also.
Yeah, I don't have a problem, and because you're right, she's a trailblazer coming from a different angle.
Yeah. So I think we got it. I think we're gonna do, as long as you're cool with it, we'll do 2. Because
I
we all have
support
to
it.
vote. Okay, awesome. So because we've all got to vote. So for our Trailblazers, we as a commission are selecting Kathy and Lucy. We should vote on them one at a time, probably. So all in favor of Kathy Lynch being one of our Trailblazers, say aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? All right, we've passed Kathy as one of our Trailblazers. And now Lucy Bernier, we will go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor of Lucy being one of our Trailblazers? All those in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? No? All right, so we have our 2021 Women Trailblazers. Yay!
Yay.
All right. So I believe we're still trying to have some sort of get together in the fall, right? We're going to still go with that. Even if it's outside 6 feet away, handing it to them.
sounds great.
Can't wait.
Remember that this will be a combined award ceremony from last year on this year, whenever it's held.
Right.
Right. We already paid to have last year's put on the plaque, correct?
We should have, yeah.
I don't know the answer to that for sure.
Okay.
Because of the way everything went
So-
down last year, I don't know if the nameplates were made for the plaque or not.
Okay, so we're just going to make sure that we budget for that. We budget for both years, for
Yeah.
both years recipients and our function that we will have outside in the fall. We will do that next time when we figure out about our budget more so. Is there any new business that anyone has this evening?
Shannon, I just have a question, if I may. I just want to make sure I know this is a public meeting, but just when I'm making a report to the council, can I announce the winners of the Trailblazer Award, or should I hold off until they're contacted?
Oh, definitely hold off until they're contacted.
Okay.
I mean, it's a little awkward because this is a recorded YouTube and they can go watch it now.
Sure.
So no, I'm sorry, Luki. Luke, I meant Joyce. Joyce, because they can watch it right now, so people are going to know.
Well, I always contacted the people the day after the meeting and I let both the nomination team know. Sometimes I contacted them by email, but then I called the winners and let them know that they had been selected for this year's. Let them also know who had nominated them. And you'll have to explain that we don't know at this point when we will have a public recognition of it. And I don't think last year it ever got announced in the paper, but everybody, the people who won knew the day after our meeting or within a couple days.
Okay, well, definitely you know can call them, let them know, touch base with them, and they may find out sooner if people are watching on YouTube. So
Yeah, maybe if you're watching, don't tell them.
So what I guess that what I can do then.
right, anyone who's watching, don't snitch. Just shh. We're gonna.
Very good.
Shannon, I can touch base with you on Monday. The council meeting's on Tuesday, and if they don't know yet, I can just say the winners have been chosen, but we're still waiting to contact them.
Sounds good, Luke.
That sounds good. I just don't want to ruin the surprise or ruin the moment for them.
I guess the meetings aren't typically recorded. Is this the first time this is being done recorded?
No, they're recorded. They've been recorded for the past year.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
not like they're being recorded now, because now they go right on YouTube, right?
Well, it's been, since we've been doing Zoom meetings, they've been recorded and put directly on YouTube.
Right.
Oh,
Andrew, you're
sorry.
meaning
I meant
before
more
Zoom, right?
specifically about for the
Before COVID?
Trailblazers.
We haven't done a Trailblazer selection through Zoom yet. Last year we did it at City Hall. So this is our first Trailblazer selection on Zoom.
Gotcha. Okay.
We're all trying. We're doing the best. we
Yeah.
can. I think we did an excellent job. So no new business.
Okay, before you leave this, are you calling them, Shannon?
What, you're the happy news lady. You,
All right, I just want to clarify.
you get to have that beautiful job. You go ahead and you hype them up, Joyce.
But you're chair now.
I know you like doing it. You go ahead.
Okay.
You let those women know that they were selected and appreciated, and we respect them, and we want to make sure that they're honored.
Okay.
Paul. Okay. Alrighty. So, since we have no new news and we agreed to work on the statement at the next meeting, I think that is the end of our meeting.
Righty.
We did it, you guys.
That's good.
Excellent.
Woo.
See everyone next month.
All right. Thank you, everyone,
care,
for
all.
being
God bless
here.
everyone.
Okay, good to see
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye.
All that good
Enjoy
stuff.
spring.
Yeah.